Fellas, in this video I want to talk about 2025 Ram HDs. What is there to come and what do we know as of now? Obviously Ram hasn't released anything officially, but other companies have. The companies that make up the Ram HD and the reason I buy these Ram HDs have spoken up, and I'm pleased to share the information I found, and I'm excited for the 2025 Ram. So first and foremost, well, actually, if you're new to the channel, you don't know, I utilize a lot of Ram products. You know, you got a 2020, that thing has 300,000. That's a 2018, that thing has 500,000. Well, that's a TRX, doesn't do any work really. That one has 2018, that was kind of like a GM's truck, not that much miles on it. But this truck is my OG truck, and it has north of 500,000. Absolutely phenomenal trucks. So now you're kind of in the loop. You know what I do. If you don't, just go check out the channel. But I'm a strong advocate for Ram up until 22. 22 was a nasty year for me. Engines blew up left and right. A piece of crap. The end. No more trucks I've bought after that. 6 out of the 8 22 trucks that I've purchased for my company have been traded off, and I've moved on. It is nasty what has happened with those 22 trucks. Okay. We're past that. Now, let's go back to business. So it's 2025. Nothing's officially released from Ram, but doing my extensive research, the curiosity got the best of me yesterday. So I've done research on Cummins. Cummins have spoken about a few highlights, you know, in the last week. Within the last week, they've released this information that, excuse me, that, you know, what the future is looking like. And when they spoke about their suppliers and their chains and the communication, they showed inventory of 6-7 Cummins. So that for a fact tells me professionals spoke to professionals indirectly. So for a fact, I know Ram, now I'm at peace, and I know Ram addressed that issue. Because in 22, what was I blowing these engines over? Hydraulic, the push rod was wearing into the rockers, and that created a gap that the hydraulic lifters couldn't compensate for, and then banged out the lifter, took out the cam, and it was quite the crapshoot. Man, it's chilly out here. Let me get in my truck. We'll go for a drive. So Cummins has answered my long-time question: is Cummins going to ignore the fact, or they're going to pony up? Now, Cummins has been pretty good. I've heard it both ways on those 19s and 20s. They went with CP4s, then they went with the CP3s. An engineer at Cummins said, hey, that was all Ram. They wanted it. They saw that they failed. They went back to CP3. I'm more on the Cummins side. I think Cummins is the one that addressed it, but nobody knows for sure. So, is 2025 engine going to be is it going to be something new and, you know, groundbreaking? Probably not. But for what Ram has shared with the public about their future and underlining that, and when they're talking about it in the background, they're showing, you know, 6-7. You know, through the whole video, most of the video is about the highway trucks, right? Those the big rig trucks. Also, I deal with big rigs, and I follow up on these trucks. I am through and through Cummins guy. I do not understand drivers thoroughly why the heck they like these plastic trucks, but they absolutely love Volvos. I keep buying them. I gave up on Volvos. That's a video for another time. That beast right there is a Freightliner Cascadia. It has a 605 horsepower truck. It kind of like the engine 605. You know, I'm a proponent of, hey, if you're buying Ford, stick to all Ford. If you're buying this, stick to all that. So Freightliner Detroit, that's all one company. I would prefer to buy a Freightliner fully Detroit, guys. I promise this is all part of the video. But the 605 fell in my lap, you know. The back end of the shortness of trucks, about a year ago, and I bought the truck. So that's how I ended up with those 605. But what I'm underlining is that's a Cummins 605. And I'm following Cummins with their technology, right? And Cummins runs the Ram diesel trucks. So with that being said, the technology that they have in those engines, right? Those smart torque, Volvo refers it to eco torque. I know for a fact Power Stroke does it. I've heard about it, felt it. I've owned a 23 Power Stroke for a few months, and I know Banks spoke about the Duramax doing the same thing. So those crazy numbers, 1,200 pounds torque for foot-pound torque from Ford, you know, Power Stroke. and the 900 something from Duramax. You don't get them all at the same line. This is important information. I know for a fact Volvo shorts you, like 200 pounds. I could only imagine like the pickups, they probably short you about 75 to 100 foot-pounds, and it's part of the tuning as needed on demand. It gives you rest of it. So there's two things there. Two biggest reasons I believe is powertrain safety and fuel efficiency. So that's the whole idea of why I showed you those big rigs. I'm not just reading stuff. I'm feeling these things. I'm driving them. I'm keeping them alive, meaning on the road. I see what goes off, the big rigs. If you're far into these engines, you'll know an N14 is pretty much like a 12 valve, and it's, there's CPU, ECUs, there's CPLs. I mean, it's big brother and small brother. So there's nothing like groundbreaking, nothing on the market, right? Like nothing like this in the market before. No, it's been there, it's done that. They just drag their feet to release it to the public. So all this breaking news and stuff, it's been there. The technology's been there. They just never capitalized on it. And hey, look at what we got, kind of scenario. So back it all up. This information for the engine is very important for the transmission. So the 2025 transmission that's coming in the HDs is called a ZF8 Powerline. Now, the reason I'm convinced is not hearsay, right? Because we've heard Allison's supposed to get in there, or possibly, it's all hearsay. Ison might be there because they both have these, offerings. And then obviously ZF. Any person with some common sense and understanding what's really going on in the industry is going to say, well, most likely it's ZF, and that's what Paul's basing it off of. No, I'm not basing it off of that. ZF released something the last few days talking about their power line, right? They're talking about how it's a medium duty transmission. And in the picture, you see a sports car, a box truck, and a Ram. That'll be my, I'll put that picture, that'll be my thumbnail for this video, so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. I don't think they realized what they did. They pretty much released it before Ram did. Officially, right? We could all speculate, we could say this, and that. But they've officially released it because in their, why in the world would they put a Ram truck, a heavy-duty Ram truck in their picture? It looks to be like a dually. And it's not a current dually. It's like, I think they took the future headlights, right? The future HD lights, and they put like a 2018 grill. I'll put the picture in the thumbnail. You guys will see what I mean. So that's why I'm excited to share this, The 2025 Ram HD is going to get it, the ZF transmission. Now, I have nothing but good things to say. There's nothing fabulous about this transmission. What I mean by fabulous, there's nothing groundbreaking, anything crazy like that. But with that being said, it's a good transmission. No one has ever complained about these transmissions in the TRX. It's a completely different transmission. It's still an 8-speed, but you don't compare those two. But as a company, as a reputation, as a whole, this is important because you got I think the BMW M5 is one of a lot of manufacturers to utilize the transmission. No one really complains about that tranny unless they overheat it from launch controls back to back. So they know how to do performance, banging out those gears and efficiency for sports cars, right? Sports cars are very important to get performance and weight because lightweight's important for sports cars. Then you got box trucks, high wind resistance, high load, high stop and go. That's all real important too. But then you got Ram. They did claim, their maximum rated input is, their capacity is 1,000 foot-pound, but that's at 54,000 pounds. So you do some basic math, there's plenty of room there because Rams aren't going to tow 54,000. They're not, I don't think they legally can at this point. So maybe, they're claimed 40 or 42,000. Well, that just opened up the window, right? The lighter the weight, the less load there are on those friction discs, plates. You know what I'm talking about, the clutches in the transmission. So the more it can handle. So at this point, I'm certain for myself, obviously it's unofficial, Ram hasn't released it, but at this point I am positive, or I'm convinced for myself that that's the transmission that's going in the Ram. A lot of people have their speculation. Some will say Ison, some will say the same thing, ZF Powerline, but I'm showing you my I'm explaining why I'm convinced, and I'm basing off facts. You know, you got speculations, but you got the ZF Transmission Company talking about this transmission in the background in one of the slides. You see a Ram, so that kind of gives that one away. Now, going back to the engine, I think it's phenomenal. I think, it takes a man to admit his fault, right? And I think it's freaking awesome, the fact that Ram said, hey, we're going to watch our suppliers. We're going to communicate better. While talking about that, they have this thing in the background of stocking the 6.7 Cummins engines. So, yeah, I could see Cummins, putting in some good torque numbers out of the deal. Meaning, they can modulate their torque, Yeah, they might have 13, now I made up this number. I have no basis of saying 1,300, but I'll just throw a number out there. 1,300 foot-pound of torque claim. Right now, they're the top dog in the market. They have the most torque. But you only get that torque on demand, which is awesome. I'm a high proponent of that. I'm all about efficiency and the best bang for your buck, but also taking it easy on the powertrain. I typically don't drive around a 1500. 1500s are useless, especially this TRX. It's just a toy truck, and it has worked out very well for my day-to-day activities, but I still end up driving my diesel quite a bit because I have to, move stuff and whatnot. I've asked in the past if you guys want vlogs of my day-to-day life, but even if I get a lot of positivity and support on that, I still don't think I could afford to have a camera on me all day. It's just, anyways. That's a conversation for another time, but in the comment section, still let me know if I should look into that. Now, with the transmissions being technologically advanced, and they have all these crazy claims, this and that. I think it can modulate. Oh boy, I believe it can modulate a lot of torque. Because the initial limiting factor are the clutches, right? The engaging factor. So, just like the engine doesn't give you the full torque as you're taking off, but once you're locked in and you're pulling a hill and it sees a certain, position, throttle position and boost and the demand, like I said, Volvo gives you that 200, Cummins has smart torque. They all have their technologies. Now, this transmission's locked in and it can handle more. So, I see 2025 HDs as a big plus. Thanks to Ford and GM. GM didn't go crazy with their, high numbers, but they did refine quite a bit of stuff. So, with that being said, it's freaking awesome, guys. It's just awesome. The fact that they're forced to improve, the fact that they have no choice but to get better at it and progress. Numbers game is all fun and games, GM said, heck with you guys, we're gonna do our own thing. And quite frankly, guys, the real world test, there's not a big difference between 1200 and 900. It's just one of those things on paper. It looks good. Real world, that's a lot of difference, Average it out, it's about 250 because it's like 900 something torque difference. So 250 might even be less than that. That's not the point. The point is, on paper, the difference is greater than in real world. So Cummins being Cummins and Ram liking their titles, I'm pretty sure they'll bump up the torque, but that's that. So I feel like this video is important to those guys out there that are curious, from a guy that utilizes these trucks every day. And I mean, we use these trucks. You saw in the yard there, I had this little load. Now, dude, that's a joke compared to some of these loads the guys haul with their pickups, with our pickups, and the test that they really put them through. So anyways, guys, as always, may the Lord bless you. May y'all mighty fine day, and let me know what else would you guys like to hear about these 2025s. I mean, I pretty much told you it all. I summed it up for you guys and told you what I think about it and what all is in store for us. But that's just my speculation. That's just my putting one and one together. Alrighty, guys. God bless you. Ciao. Bye.